of them.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2021 Marvel film Eternals, a film that is directed by Chloe Zhao and it stars Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie, Salma Hayek and Kit Harington. Now, this film, I'll give you a little bit about the story first. This film focuses on a group of Eternals that are essentially sent to Earth 7,000 years ago, something like that, to protect Earth from some species called the Deviants. Now, the idea of the Eternals is to protect humanity from these Deviants and also help to guide and mould humanity so that it can reach its full potential. Now, in actual fact, I mean, I'm going to try and not give spoilers, too many spoilers here, but this is going to be a difficult film to talk or analyse without some kind of spoilers. But essentially, they are not there for that reason. They have been actually sent there by the Celestials to essentially exactly that, protect them from the Deviants, and harness humanity so that it can grow and reach its full potential. Because essentially there is a celestial being at the heart of our planet, planet Earth, that is growing. And it will take several thousand years for it to reach its full potential and be birthed from our planet. And the more humans, they kind of act like batteries, I suppose. The more humans, the better. And then the celestial being will then come out from the centre of our Earth, and all of humanity will be destroyed. The Eternals discover this plan. Obviously, they're not happy about it. Well, certainly most of them. And they try and save planet Earth from this taking place. Right, my thoughts on Eternals. Well, this film is getting a lot of press. And now, initially, I wasn't massively keen on seeing this film. Certainly in the cinema, anyway. Getting a lot of bad press. I mean, I think Marvel in general these days is getting a lot of bad press. Some of it justified, I guess. A lot of it not. It just seems like that a corner has been turned, and Marvel seems to be on a decline for whatever reason. We've had Black Widow, we've had the Shang-Chi one that came out fairly recently, and now this one. And they've all been met with a lukewarm response, I think is a fair assessment of those two films, certainly Black Widow and Shang-Chi. And also this. I mean, you could argue this has been received the worst of the lot. It's not hitting it with critics. It's not really hitting it with audiences. And it's yet to be seen whether it's actually going to make a massive impact at the box office. Let's be honest, it's not going to crack $1 billion like, generally speaking, Marvel films tend to do. Now, is this a bad film? Or as bad as certainly some of those that you may watch on YouTube or whatever are making out? No, it isn't. As they are never tend to be. It's not one of these, get woke, go broke films, as again, a lot of these people like to throw that tagline onto movies. Yes, it's very diverse, this film. Yes, it's got representation from all sorts of different communities and the disabled community and races and all that kind of stuff. Who cares? That's fine. I don't give a monkeys. I genuinely don't. If the film's good, put who you want in it. I'm not bothered. The problem with this film is structurally it's a bit messy. Well, that's an understatement. It's very messy, and it just all feels a little bit rushed. It reminds me a little bit of the Justice League film, how they rushed that process, and those characters were introduced haphazardly to audiences, so they never really got time to shine. They never got their own movies, and these, for the most part, were characters that we were familiar with. Now, I don't know the Eternals. I mean, I'd heard of them, but I hadn't heard of Guardians of the Galaxy either. So it proves that you can pull it off successfully, but they haven't done it here. There's too many characters in this film who we don't know who they are. We get very little in regards to character development. It's all very, very rushed. There's shoots back and forth in time, and and it just feels very, very messy, and it's almost like they're putting plasters over plot points here. I mean, they try and explain why these Eternals didn't interfere with the Thanos thing, and the idea is, they've been instructed not to interfere with anything that isn't deviant related. So they stood back and let Thanos get on with it. I don't buy it, because the plan here is for the Celestials is the more people on Earth, the better. The more humans on Earth, the better. So the more humans, the quicker that this thing will birth from the centre of the Earth. But Thanos' plan was to snap his fingers and halve all of the population throughout the galaxy or the universe, which would have halved the human population, which would have set this plan back massively if Thanos' plan had succeeded. Now, they weren't to know that Thanos' plan was going to get thwarted by the Avengers and everybody else. So why were they not given instructions to help defeat Thanos? Because ultimately it was going against their plan, basically. Yeah. There were some really interesting things in this film as well. You know, it plays very subtly with themes around consequences of them A, not interfering with human history, and B, actually interfering with human history. But it just barely scratches the surface. I mean, there's a scene with the Hiroshima bomb, and there's one of these Eternals who, you know, it can create machinery and inspire humanity to make machinery and things like that. And it becomes distraught by the fact that he feels responsible for Hiroshima and stuff. But it just doesn't play around with it enough. So there's some really interesting themes here in this film that I just don't think it played around, it explored anywhere near enough. And that's the really frustrating thing about this film. There's a film here somewhere, a really, really good film here somewhere. And it's just it's all surface level. Everything's surface level here, and they never really they never really get any deeper. We don't learn enough about these characters. I mean, I could barely remember the names, some of these Eternals, and the powers just seemed a bit random and a bit odd. You know, they all had these different powers, and a little bit underwhelming, I suppose you could say, for some of these Eternals. Some of them were pop-powing things from fingers. Some of them had, like, you know, swordy type stuff. Some of them were almost like Superman type powers, which they joke about within the film. Another one that could change matter into something else. Another one that's got, I don't know, all these weird and wonderful powers, and it just all seemed a bit odd, and it just didn't seem to gel for me with a lot of these characters. But for the most part, the action's good and fine. I don't really have a problem with much of the effects and things like that, other than these deviants, that are just CGI monsters. And they were battling these deviants for a lot of the film. And it reminded me a little bit of the Suicide Squad film, not the second one, the first one, the one with Will Smith, where they're battling like these CGI things that you don't care about, so therefore it doesn't make it interesting or exciting. That's what happens here in this film. They're battling these CGI creatures, these deviants that you're not fussed about, really. They're just a different looking deviant. So not really exciting. There's a couple of moments in the film where it generates a bit of excitement in regards to the set pieces, and there's a good fight at the end, and I like the ending of the film, the confrontation with this huge celestial that's been giving them their instructions over these many, many hundreds and thousands of years, and a few other things here and there that I thought was decent, but I think that was massively a missed opportunity. It feels very, very rushed. It feels like it was a Marvel film that should have happened probably around the time of, I don't know, after the second Avengers film or something like that. Yeah, it's just, it is what it is. There is an entertaining film here if you want to just go and enjoy it for what it is, but I think Marvel are almost losing the touch in regards to telling a good story. They're rushing it now, and I don't know why they're rushing it. They don't need to rush it. These characters, I think, would have been better introduced over a number of films. or certainly a couple of films. Just let the characters breathe, let the audiences get to know them, and then just let the story tell itself. They try and do too much in one film, and it all feels a little bit messy for me. But it is nowhere near as bad as some of these critics will have you make out. I'm going to give it a fairly solid 7 out of 10. Watchable for sure, just for me. I was hoping for so much more. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you like my review, and I'll be back with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.